Hi, my name is Rebecca and welcome to my channel. I have said it before, I am totally in love with the Dollar Tree's red, white, and cool theme, and I have incorporated that into my existing patriotic decor. I have been playing with Deco mesh and I have made a giant ice cream cone out of this Deco mesh to hang on my front door with this red, white, and cool theme, and I thought it turned out absolutely adorable. So let's just get to crafting. To start this project out, you're going to need 2 rolls of the variegated Deco mesh that you can find at the Dollar Tree, 2 rolls of the red, 2 rolls of the white, and 1 roll of the royal blue. You're going to need some chenille stems. I get mine at the Dollar Tree. I just find that I can get more bang for my buck at the Dollar Tree, 45 for $1.25, and the bicycle wheel. I start out by using this little adhesive mat, and I cut my Deco mesh the size of this mat, and I cut and I put my bundles together, and then I usually put them all on. So I put my bundles together in a different way on this wreath. I kind of wanted to keep all of my tail ends together, so I kind of just let it roll naturally, and so I put each end in a roll together. It's kind of hard to describe, but I just let each end roll up just naturally, and some of them I kind of had to help because one end wanted to go a little sideways, but the Deco mesh kind of keeps them together and kind of sticks together. But I let each end kind of roll in the opposite direction, and then I just put my little bundles together, and I kind of formed a little bit of a little burrito, and I cinched them in the middle, and I tied them really tight with one of these chenille stems. I usually take my chenille stems and I get 3 sections out of one stem. So I don't use a whole long stem for each one. I usually just use a short one. So I put all of my bundles, I made all of my little bundles together, and I started making the middle part of my ice cream cone. And I used the red first because I thought that the red was so beautiful and vibrant, and that's kind of how I wanted to start building this ice cream cone. So I put 2 rows of this beautiful red together, and I kind of fastened the 2 middle pieces around the bicycle wheel to give it a little bit of stability in the middle so that they wouldn't slide all around. If that makes any sense, there's a little hole in the middle, and so I put one on either side there and kind of gave it some stability so that I could build out from there. And so once I had my 2 rolls and my 2 rows of Deco mesh, then I started building with the white. And I just kind of started putting my little white bundles together. It's the same process. You don't need to see me build all of my bundles. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bundles next to my red bundles, and then I went ahead and I put another I believe 4 bundles on top of that on the next row. So 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of another bundle of white. And then I went with the variegated on the very top, and I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bundles of the variegated on the very top of this bicycle wheel to start the top of my ice cream cone. once I had the top part of my ice cream cone completed, it was time to do the bottom. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bundles of variegated next to the red, and then I put the 1, 2, 3, 4 bundles of the royal blue to finish out my ice cream cone, and then it was time to start on the bottom of the cone. I used a piece of foam board that I had picked up at the Dollar Tree, and I did not measure this. It's probably around 18 inches. I just used a stick that I had in my craft stash. It's actually a plant stick from the Dollar General, and I just used that to make my straight line of a V in this foam board, and it is probably about 18 inches, and I just drew that out with a pen. I kind of knew how long I wanted my waffle cone, my ice cream cone to kind of be, so that's just kind of how I measured it. I took my craft knife and then I just started cutting this foam board, and my knife, I was afraid I was going to go all the way through to the table because I didn't put anything down to cover my table, so I was a little hesitant. Don't make that mistake yourself. So some of that I had to use some scissors, and then some of the little paper kind of came apart. Don't worry, because that will all be covered and nobody will ever see that. But I did kind of go ahead and trim off the edges with some scissors. But it does break apart really easy when you have something and you apply the right amount of pressure. It does go through this foam board. The craft knife goes through very easily. And once I had my cone base cut out, my little triangle, then and it did tear the paper just a little bit, but like I said, this is going to be covered, so don't worry. The integrity of the board is still perfectly fine. So once I had that all cut out, then it was time to cover it. I always pick up this big roll of burlap ribbon at Walmart. You can get it at Hobby Lobby and a whole lot of different places. I just grabbed mine at Walmart. Last time I bought it, it was like $6.95 or something, and it just comes in handy for so many different things. And so I just have this big roll, and I use and use and use off of it. And so I just started kind of wrapping this around my foam board in kind of a diagonal and different shape, in kind of how I wanted a waffle cone to look. I started wrapping it at the top part and then kind of gluing it because I wanted some thickness at the top. But eventually, you're going to have to cut, and you're going to have to cut and glue and cut and glue. I just didn't want at the very top to have a big cut glue mess on my hands. So I did try as much as I possibly could to wrap it so that there wouldn't be as big of a bulky mess on the back side. I do try to keep the back side of my projects as neat as I possibly can because even though I have a solid door, I'm mindful that I might want to hang this on the inside, or I might want to hang it somewhere where somebody might see the back side of my project. And so I do try to keep the back side of it as neat as I possibly can. So I didn't want a bunch of cut and piece until I absolutely had to. But you are going to have to cut and piece and glue because the cone part does narrow, and there is absolutely no way of getting around it. Otherwise, your burlap is just going to get lumpy and bumpy, and there's just going to be little pieces of ripples in the burlap, and it's going to be an ugly little mess. So you are going to have to cut and piece it and kind of fit it in around this cone. But the burlap makes such a good looking waffle cone that it's actually worth the trial to get this cone part looking the way it needs to. And I probably should have finger protectors on, but I don't, because I just, everything's an afterthought. Once I get into a project, it's an afterthought. And if there is a gap, or if there's a little place that's not quite finished, you can always go back over and finish it out with a piece of burlap on the bottom and, you know, on the back side, and make it look the way that you want to on the back side. So just never fear, just make sure that the top part looks the way that you want it to, and then you can always make sure that the back looks you know, finished and neat and tidy after you've got the front looking the way that it needs to. So I kind of, the little cone part was just really easy. I just tucked that in and glued it down with some hot glue. And then once I had that all really nice and secure, there were a couple little gaps, and I just kind of tucked some hot glue in there so that, you know, I am going to put this on my front door, so I wanted it to, you know, the wind not to catch it, so I did kind of tuck some hot glue in there. I took my ink pen and measured down just a little bit and just poked a little hole in there, took a chenille stem and ran it through that burlap and ran it through that hole, and I put 2 on either side so that I can attach this waffle cone to my ice cream cone. And then it just kind of, on the back side where that royal blue pops and that beautiful royal color is, I put this burlap cone right underneath that, and those chenille stems just twist around that bottom rung so easily, and it makes everything so secure. And I did not speed this video up because I kind of wanted you to see exactly what I was doing, and it's hard to see when things are sped up. It makes the video a little bit longer, but it's hard to see exactly what is going on. I did go ahead and finish off the top part. You can put some felt over this back part of the bicycle wheel if you want to completely finish this out and have the back side looking really nice and neat and tidy, and not see all the chenille stems and where you have tied on the Deco mesh. I just kind of cut that and trimmed it and put some hot glue on there and made sure that it looked really neat and tidy. And if I am going to hang this where the back side is going to show, then I will probably put some felt over the chenille stem so that nobody will see what is going on and see my work. But my door's solid. Once again, my door's solid, so nobody's really going to see that. And the Deco mesh actually keeps everything kind of away from the door, so even if the wind blows it, it's not going to scratch a door. So I kind of like that aspect of Deco mesh. It kind of keeps things from scratching your door. So, and it's durable and it doesn't fade. I love it. So anyway, I had this little roll that my Deco mesh came on, and so I decided to put 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint in the color of ocean on this little cardboard roll. It's a really heavy duty roll, and I always throw a couple in my craft stash just to keep on hand because it's a nice size and it comes in handy for a lot of different things. But I put 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint on this roll. I didn't go all the way down, but I did kind of tuck my sponge brush inside, and I did paint on the inside just a little because I knew that if you're standing at the right angle, you're going to see inside this little roll. So I did paint on the inside down in the inside just a little bit, and I just ran my sponge brush in there and swished it all around. And then I let it dry, and then I just put on another coat. And it was easy to paint. The cardboard absorbed it really well. And so I just have a nice little straw now. And it's really actually kind of in proportion to this ice cream cone. It's actually the perfect size. So I have a cute little straw. I set that aside, and then I had some foam scatter that I bought at the Dollar Tree, and it comes in 2 different sizes of stars. So I bypassed the smaller star and I picked out the big red star for this, and I think these stars are so cute. So I picked out the big red star, and I just put some hot glue kind of in where the V is, and I just hot glued that on the edge of the straw like it was just kind of sitting there on the straw like maybe a piece of fruit. And I thought it just added the cutest little embellishment to that, and I held it until the glue was really good and dry. And my straw is really, it's cute, and it was free. It came with the Deco mesh. So anyway, I hot glued that into the Deco mesh, and I made sure I hot glued it where, one of the wires would be, so it wouldn't flop around, and it was in a nice sturdy spot. I put a chenille stem right around the top so that I would have a hanger, and then my little ice cream cone is ready to display. I've got it hanging up. It is big, it is beautiful, it is fabulous, and I absolutely love it, and it goes so well with my little Dollar Tree yard sign, and it's all lit up at night, and I am just in love with this. So when you see these wreath forms, just let your imagination run wild and create something fabulous. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so that you know when I've uploaded my next video. Welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafting journey, and give me a thumbs up, and you all have a really great week. Thanks for watching Crafts, Laughs, and Chaos.